he enters, the river will take him too. Eka's heart twisted. She couldn't let that happen. She forced herself to her feet, every step heavy. She reached the door, resting her forehead against it. Nello, please, go. I am not well. You can't help me. I won't leave you, Nello said. His voice was full of fear and love. Whatever it is, we'll face it together. Eka pressed her hand to the door. You must go. Please. For me. For yourself. Silence. Then Nello spoke again, softer. Eka, I won't stop caring, but if you ask me to go, I will go. Eka's tears fell fast now. Thank you, she whispered. She listened as his footsteps slowly faded into the night. The woman's voice came again, kind heart, but it changes nothing. Eka turned. The room was empty, but the cold remained. Suddenly, she felt it her skin, where it had turned pale, began to sting, like tiny needles pricking her all at once. She looked down. The pale patches spread faster now, climbing her arms, her neck. Her hands trembled. Outside, the wind rose, carrying the smell of the river. And as Eka stood there, wrapped in the cold, a voice whispered in her ear, tomorrow night, the river will collect all. Eka did not sleep that night. She sat on her mat, arms wrapped around her knees, staring at the door, waiting for the dawn. But when morning came, it brought no comfort. Her skin burned where the pale patches had spread. Her arms felt weak. Her face felt tight, as if it no longer belonged to her. She didn't want to look in the mirror. She was afraid of what she might see. The house felt empty, too empty. Even the birds outside kept quiet that morning, as if they too feared what was coming. Eka stood slowly, her legs shaking beneath her. She walked to the window and peered out. The village looked normal, women fetching water, children running with sticks, men heading to their farms. But for Eka, the world no longer felt normal. Tomorrow night, the river will collect all. Those words repeated in her head like a drumbeat. She thought of Nello, his kind eyes, his gentle voice, his gifts left at her door. She thought of how she had pushed him away, how she had kept her sorrow locked inside. She thought of the woman, the one from the river, the one who gave and was now coming to take. And then an idea came. If I go to the river myself, maybe, just maybe, I can beg. Maybe I can offer myself before she comes to take everything. With trembling hands, Eka packed a small bag. She put in a piece of cloth, a small gourd of water, and a few coins. She wrapped herself tightly so no one would see the pale, fading parts of her skin. She stepped outside, heart racing. The sun was high now, but the air felt heavy, like rain that wouldn't fall. She walked quickly, keeping to the quiet paths, avoiding the main road where people might stop her. The way to the river felt longer than before. Each step felt harder. Her legs ached. Her chest felt tight, but she kept going. Finally, she reached the river bank. The water flowed slowly, quietly, as if waiting. Eka fell to her knees. She dipped her hands into the cool water. Please, she whispered, tears falling into the river. Please, I beg you. I was foolish. I broke the rule, but don't take all of me. Don't take my life. Take the gift. Take the fish. Take everything else. The river said nothing. It only kept flowing, soft and steady. Eka cried harder. I am tired. I have lost my husband. I have lost my child. I don't want to lose myself too. The breeze rose, carrying the scent of wet earth. The water rippled. And then the voice came, the voice she feared but hoped for. You ask what has never been given, the voice said, soft but clear. Eka turned. The woman stood there, as graceful as always, her dress shining like the river itself. I beg you, Eka said, falling to the ground. Please, take the gift back. I don't want it anymore. I don't need it. Just leave me. The woman stepped closer. Eka, she said, her voice like a song. The gift and the price are tied. The river does not give and take as you wish. The river only keeps its balance. Eka's tears fell faster. But I will do anything, anything else. Just tell me, I will do it. The woman looked at her with eyes that saw everything, her pain, her fear, her regret. There is one way, the woman said at last. Eka looked up, hope flashing in her heart. Tell me, please tell me. The woman's smile was small, sad. Another must choose to take your place. Another must give their life for yours. Only then will the river release you. Eka froze. Another? The woman nodded. A willing soul, one who gives freely with love. Eka shook her head. No, I can't ask that. I can't. The river will collect by nightfall, the woman said, stepping back into the shadows. Choose. And then she was gone. Eka fell forward, her hands sinking into the wet sand. She sobbed until no tears were left. She stayed there until the sun began to fall, until the sky turned gold and red. Slowly, she stood. She turned from the river and began the walk home. Her mind raced. How can I ask another to die for me? Who would even agree? And even if someone did, how could I live with it? As she neared her compound, she saw a figure waiting by her door. Nello. He stood with a small bag in his hand, as if ready to stay by her side. When he saw her, he smiled. But when he saw her face, pale and tired, his smile faded. Eka, he said, stepping forward. Eka felt the tears rise again. She stopped, too weak to speak. Nello reached out, his hand gentle, his eyes full of worry. I don't know what's happening to you, he said quietly. But I'm here. Whatever it is, we'll face it together. And in that moment, Eka knew. The river had given her a choice, and standing before her was the only person who might make that choice without being asked. Eka stood frozen, her heart heavy with the weight of what the river had demanded. She looked at Nello, the man who had shown her nothing but kindness, who had tried to bring light back into her dark world. And now, the river wanted his light to save her from the dark. Nello stepped closer, his face full of worry. Eka, please talk to me. You're scaring me. What's wrong? What's happening to you? Eka opened her mouth, but no words came out. How could she tell him? How could she say, the river will let me live if you give your life in my place? She looked down at her hands, at the pale patches spreading faster now. Her fingers trembled. Her body felt weaker. The river's time was running out. Nello gently touched her arm. Eka, let me help. Let me carry this burden with you. She pulled back, afraid. No, Nello, you don't understand. This is not something you can fix. Please, just go. But Nello shook his head. I can't go. Not while you're like this. I won't leave you alone. Eka's eyes filled with tears. If you stay, it will be your death. She turned and opened her door. Come inside, she said softly. If this was to be their last evening together, she wanted to see him, to hear his voice, to remember kindness before the river came. Nello followed her in. The small room felt colder than usual, as if the river's breath had already entered the house. He looked around. You've been living in fear, he said quietly. I can see it in your eyes, in this room. Eka sank onto her mat. Her body ached. The pale patches now covered her arms, her chest, parts of her face. She pulled her wrapper tighter. Nello sat beside her, close, but not too close. He waited, giving her space. Finally, Eka spoke. Her voice was low, but clear. There is something I need to tell you, but you must promise me something first. Nello leaned forward. Anything. Promise me that after I tell you, you will not offer to help. Promise me you will walk away, that you will save yourself. Nello frowned. Eka, please, she whispered. Promise me. He saw the pain in her eyes and nodded slowly. I promise. And so, Eka told him everything. She told him about the night at the river, about the woman with eyes like water, about the gift of silver fish that no flies touched, about the rule she had to follow, and about the price for breaking it. When she finished, the room was silent. Nello stared at her, his heart breaking. And now, he asked, now the river comes tonight to collect what it gave, unless she stopped. Unless what? Unless another gives their life in my place, she said, tears falling. Nello closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, they were full of sorrow, but also of peace. You know what I would choose, Eka, he said gently. No, she cried, shaking her head. You promised. You can't. I promised because I didn't know the truth then. Now I do. Eka sobbed. Please don't do this. I couldn't live with it. I couldn't bear it. But Nello only smiled sadly. I have no family. No one who would mourn me. But you, Eka, you deserve to live, to find peace, to start again. He reached out, brushing a tear from her cheek. You have brought light into my life, even in your silence. Let me do this for you. But before Eka could stop him, the room grew colder. The lamp flickered, the air filled with the scent of wet stones. And then came the knock. Slow, steady. Sure, Eka. The voice was soft, almost kind. It is time. Nello stood, his shoulders straight. Eka grabbed his hand. No, please, there must be another way. But Nello gently pulled free. I'm ready, he said. The door creaked open by itself, and the cold wind of the river swept into the room. The door stood open, and with it came the cold, the smell of the river, and the sound of something unseen moving through the night. The lamp flickered one last time, then went out. Eka clutched her wrapper, her whole body trembling. She watched as Nello stepped toward the door, his head high, his heart steady. Nello, please, she begged, her voice breaking. Don't do this. Don't give yourself for me. He turned and looked at her, his face soft, his eyes shining with a strange peace. I have made my choice, Eka. You gave me reason to care again. Let me do this. The cold grew stronger. The voice came once more. Nello, are you sure? Eka couldn't see her, but she felt the woman's presence, feeling the room like water, feeling a jar. Nello nodded. I am sure. The air shifted. The cold wrapped around him like a second skin. Eka tried to move, tried to pull him back, but her legs felt heavy, as if the river had already claimed her strength. The voice spoke again, quiet but powerful. Step forward. Nello obeyed. He walked through the door, into the night. The cold swallowed him, but he did not look back. Eka fell to her knees, sobbing. She felt the weight of what was happening. She felt the river's hunger, its need to balance what had been broken. Outside, the wind rose, the trees bent, the night filled with the sound of rushing water. Though the river was far, Eka crawled to the door and looked out. She saw Nello standing at the edge of her yard, and beyond him, the woman. Her dress shimmered, her hair flowed like black waves. The woman raised one hand, and the wind stilled. You give freely, she asked. Nello's voice was steady. I give freely. The woman nodded. She stepped forward, placing her hand on his chest. The air around them glowed faintly, as if the moon itself had come down to watch. Eka wanted to scream, to run, to stop what was happening, but she could only watch, her heart breaking. The pale patches on her skin began to fade. Slowly, her color returned. The tightness in her chest eased. The river was releasing her. But at what cost? Nello's eyes met hers one last time. He smiled, gentle and true. Then, the wind roared. The ground shook. The light around them grew brighter. Too bright. Eka covered her face. When she looked again, the woman and Nello were gone. The night fell silent. The wind died. The air warmed. Eka sank to the ground, sobbing into the earth. She stayed there until dawn, her heart heavy with sorrow, her body healed but her soul broken. When the sun rose, the villagers found her sitting at her doorway, her eyes empty, her face pale from grief. And beside her, on the ground, lay a single silver fish, the last gift of the river. But Eka could not touch it. She turned her face to the rising sun, tears streaming down her cheeks. And from deep in the wind, she heard the faintest whisper, "Balance is kept." Days passed, but Eka felt as if time had stopped. She no longer went to the market. The silver fish at her door stayed untouched, shining in the morning sun until it faded and shriveled by night. The villagers talked. "Madame Eka has lost her mind," they whispered. "She had everything, now look at her," some said with pity. "She played with spirits, and now she pays the price," others murmured. But Eka heard none of it. Her world was quiet, too quiet. Each night, she sat at her doorway, staring at the stars, waiting for what she didn't know. The house felt colder now, empty, without Nello's gentle knock, his soft voice calling her name. She thought of his last smile, of his steady voice as he offered himself. "I give freely." Those words burned in her heart. One night, as she sat outside, the breeze shifted. It carried with it a familiar scent, river water and wet stones. Her body tensed. Then she saw it, a shape in the shadows. The woman. But this time, the woman's face held no mystery, no power. She looked tired, almost sad. "You should be at peace," the woman said quietly. Eka shook her head. "How can I be at peace? You took him. He was good, he was kind. Why him?" The woman stepped closer. The moonlight touched her face, showing eyes filled with the weight of many sorrows. "The river does not choose out of cruelty. The river chooses to balance what was broken." Eka's voice shook with anger and pain. "But I would give back the gift. I would give back everything if I could have him back." The woman looked at her for a long time. Some gifts cannot be returned. Some debts must be carried. Eka's tears fell. "Then why are you here? What more do you want from me?" The woman's gaze softened. "To tell you this, the river's balance was kept, but the price may not end with him." Eka froze. "What do you mean?" But the woman was already stepping back, her figure fading into the night mist. "Ask no more questions, Eka. The river watches. The river waits." Then she was gone. Eka sat alone, heart pounding, mind racing. What does she mean? What more can the river want? The next morning, Eka woke to strange sounds outside her door. She opened it slowly and gasped. The market women stood there, looking at her yard, and in the middle of it lay dozens of silver fish, more than she had ever seen at once. They glistened in the early sun, perfect and fly-free as always. But Eka felt no joy, no relief, only dread. The oldest woman among them, Mama Deka, stepped forward. "Eka, what is this? Where did they come from?" Eka opened her mouth, but no words came. The women looked at each other, fear in their eyes. "This is not ordinary," one whispered. "She is cursed," another said. Eka fell to her knees, tears falling on the silver scales. The river had given, but at what cost? That night, as Eka tried to rest, a new voice came in the wind, a child's voice, soft, familiar. "Mama?" Eka's blood ran cold. It was Ogechi, her daughter. The river's price had not yet been paid in full. Eka froze. The voice echoed through the night like a breeze slipping through cracks in her wall. "Mama?" Her heart pounded so hard it hurt. She sat up, her wrapper falling from her shoulders, her breath caught in her throat. "Mama, it's me." Eka shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "No, this can't be. Ogechi is gone. She's gone." But the voice came again, soft, sweet, just like she remembered. "Come, Mama, I'm waiting." Eka stood on shaky legs. The room felt too small, too dark, too full of the past. She stepped outside into the night air, the silver fish at her door shining like coins under the moon. The voice led her down the path behind her house, past the yam fields, toward the river. The night was silent, except for that voice, the voice of her child, the voice that had once filled her home with laughter. Eka reached the river bank. The water glowed faintly under the moonlight, soft ripples spreading across its surface like it was breathing. Mama? And then she saw her. Ogechi stood at the water's edge. Her small figure, her bright eyes, her hair tied the way Eka used to do it. Eka ran forward. My child! My Ogechi! But as she drew near, she stopped. The girl's feet were not on the ground. They hovered just above it, toes barely touching the surface of the water. Ogechi, Eka whispered. The girl smiled, but it was a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Mama, come with me. I'm lonely. Eka's heart broke all over again. She fell to her knees at the edge of the river, weeping. I miss you, my child. Every day, every night. But I cannot follow you. The river's breeze brushed her cheek like a cold hand. Why not, Mama? I'm waiting. The river is kind. It will give us peace. No more pain. No more sorrow. Eka shook her head, sobbing. No, this is not peace. This is not my Ogechi. My child is with God. This is the river's trick. The girl's smile faded. The breeze grew stronger. Then the river will take what it is owed, the voice said. No longer Ogechi's, but the woman's. Eka stood, her feet firm on the ground, tears still falling, but her heart steady. Take back your gift, she cried. Take your fish, your silver lies, your cold promises. I give it all back, but I will not give my soul. I will not follow you into the deep. The river roared, its surface churning as if in anger. The wind howled through the trees. The silver fish at her home began to rot, their shine fading, their flesh turning black. Eka felt the pull of the water, a force trying to drag her forward, but she planted her feet, holding her ground. No more, she shouted, and then, as suddenly as it started, the river stilled, the breeze softened, the voice faded. The figure of Ogechi vanished like mist. Eka dropped to her knees, exhausted. The first light of dawn touched the water, turning it gold. She stayed there as the sun rose, the river quiet at last. When she returned to the village, the silver fish were gone. The gift had ended. The villagers watched her in silence as she passed. No one spoke. No one dared. And from that day, Eka lived simply. No more river gifts. No more silent riches. But in her heart, there was peace. The peace of knowing she had chosen to let go. The river never called her again. But when the wind blew at night, sometimes she thought she heard a faint whisper. The river waits. Always.